the moment that changes everything. Picture this: you're at your grandson's birthday party, surrounded by laughter and balloons, but you're frozen at the edge of the backyard. The grass slopes slightly, and though it's just a few steps to join the fun, your legs betray you. Your hand instinctively reaches for a chair, your heart pounding not from joy, but from fear. Fear that one wrong step could send you tumbling, stealing your independence in a heartbeat. I'm Dr. Thomas, a geriatric specialist with over 30 years under my belt, and today, I'm pulling back the curtain on the 5 deadliest mistakes robbing you of your steady stride. But more than that, I'm sharing the raw, emotional roller coaster of one patient, Margaret Thompson, a spunky 72-year-old from Ohio, who stared down the abyss of endless falls and came back stronger. Stick with me, because by the end, you'll have the tools to reclaim the fearless life you deserve. And if that gut-wrenching wobble has ever hit you, drop a yes in the comments right now. Let's connect on this journey. Welcome to Living Fully After 50, the channel where we don't just talk about aging gracefully, we live it, breathe it, and fight for it. If you're new here, hit that subscribe button and ring the bell so you never miss a story that could change your life. I'm Dr. Thomas, and I've spent 3 decades in the trenches of geriatric medicine, from bustling hospitals in New York to quiet clinics in the Midwest. I've held hands with patients through their darkest fears, the terror of losing independence, the heartache of missing grandkids' soccer games because a simple step feels like a mountain. But I've also witnessed triumphs that bring tears to my eyes. Folks in their 70s and 80s rediscovering the joy of walking a beach at sunset, dancing at weddings, or just strolling the neighborhood without that nagging dread. Today, we're diving deep into balance, not as some abstract health tip, but as the key to unlocking the vibrant, free-spirited life you dreamed of in retirement. Let me paint a picture for you. Balance isn't just about not falling, it's the invisible thread weaving through every moment of your day. It's the confidence to chase after your giggling grandchildren, the freedom to travel without worrying about uneven hotel floors, the simple pleasure of gardening without that voice whispering, "What if you trip?" For so many over 50, that thread starts fraying, turning small joys into big anxieties. And here's the kicker: it's not inevitable. It's often the result of 5 common pitfalls, ones that creep in so quietly you don't notice until it's almost too late. Through Margaret's story, we'll unpack each one, layer by layer, with real talk, practical fixes, and a dash of hope. Because, as the great Maya Angelou once said, you may encounter many defeats, but you must not be defeated. Margaret wasn't, and neither will you. Margaret first walked into my office on a crisp autumn morning in Cincinnati, her daughter Emily by her side. At 72, she was the picture of Midwestern grit: short silver hair, a warm smile that lit up the room, and eyes that sparkled with stories of raising 3 kids while running a small bakery. But beneath that, I saw the shadows, the slight hesitation in her step, the way she gripped the armrest as she sat down. "Dr. Thomas," she said, her voice steady but laced with vulnerability, "I feel like I'm losing myself. I used to be the one organizing family hikes, baking pies for the neighborhood block parties. Now, I can't even walk to the mailbox without wondering if today's the day I fall. Her words hit me like a punch. I've heard them 1,000 times, but each one carries the weight of a life interrupted. As we talked, Margaret opened up about the subtle signs that had built up over years. It started innocently, holding onto the kitchen counter a little longer after standing up, taking shorter steps on the sidewalk to avoid cracks, hesitating before stepping off a curb. It's like my body doesn't trust itself anymore, she confessed. And friends, if you're nodding along, you're not alone. Statistics from the CDC show that 1 in 4 Americans over 65 falls each year, leading to over 36,000 deaths and millions in medical bills. But for Margaret, it wasn't just numbers, it was the fear gnawing at her soul, the dream of growing old with grace slipping away. She longed to dance at her granddaughter's wedding, to travel to that dream spot in the Rockies, to simply feel alive again without the constant shadow of instability. What Margaret didn't know then was that her balance woes stemmed from 5 preventable mistakes, ones I see in nearly every patient who walks through my door. These aren't dramatic errors. They are quiet habits that erode your foundation bit by bit. But here's the hopeful twist: once you spot them, you can turn the tide. We'll walk through each one via Margaret's journey, adding layers of emotion, science, and real-world fixes. And to keep things engaging, I'll sprinkle in calls for you to comment. Let's make this a conversation, not a lecture. If you're ready to dive in, comment "I'm in" below. Alright, let's start with the first mistake, the one that shocked Margaret to her core. Mistake 1. Ignoring the unsung heroes, your feet and ankles. Picture this: Margaret, in my exam room, slipping off her shoes for a simple test. "Stand on your tiptoes, barefoot," I said gently. She tried, but her ankles trembled like leaves in a storm, barely lifting her heels an inch before she grabbed the table. "Oh my God," she whispered, eyes wide with disbelief. "What's happening to me?" That moment was our first breakthrough, revealing the first mistake: neglecting the strength and mobility of your feet and ankles. These humble parts of your body are the real MVPs of balance, acting as shock absorbers, stabilizers, and sensory scouts. With 26 bones, 33 joints, and a web of muscles and nerves, they make lightning-fast adjustments to keep you upright, whether you're navigating a bumpy trail or just turning in your kitchen. But as we hit 50 and beyond, life conspires against them. Cushy sneakers and flat pavements baby our feet, letting those intricate muscles slack off. Margaret, like so many, had spent decades in supportive shoes, rarely going barefoot, and avoiding anything uneven. "I thought I was protecting myself," she admitted, her voice cracking. "But I was making it worse." The science backs this up. A study in the Journal of Gerontology found that weak ankles increase fall risk by 40%. Turning minor missteps into major threats. For Margaret, this weakness meant hesitation in every move. No more spontaneous walks with her dog. No more chasing butterflies with her grandkids. It tapped into her deepest pain, the fear of becoming a burden, of watching life from the sidelines while her family moved on without her. Yet, here's where the story gets inspiring. As Winston Churchill once quipped, success is not final, failure is not fatal, it is the courage to continue that counts. We started Margaret on a courage-building routine, simple yet transformative. First, mobility drills. Sitting in her favorite armchair, she'd do gentle ankle circles, 10 clockwise, 10 counter, feeling the joints loosen like rusty hinges getting oiled. It felt silly at first, she laughed later, but then I noticed my feet waking up. Next, strength builders, towel scrunches on the floor, curling her toes to pull a bath towel toward her, reactivating those dormant arch muscles. And for power, standing calf raises, holding a chair for support, rising slowly onto her toes, holding for 3 seconds, then lowering with control. Friends, you can try this right now. Stand barefoot in your living room, lift onto your tiptoes, and hold. Wobble. That's your cue, your foundation needs work. But don't despair, consistency is key. Margaret committed to 10 minutes daily, mixing in barefoot walks on her backyard grass to stimulate those sensory nerves. It's like giving my feet a spa day, she'd joke during check-ins. Within 3 weeks, the change was palpable. She could stand on one foot for 15 seconds, a feat that brought tears to her eyes. "Dr. Thomas, I feel grounded again," she said, hugging me tightly. To add depth, let's zoom in on a mini story from my practice. Take Jim, a 68-year-old retired mechanic from Texas. Jim's feet had retired too early from years of steel-toed boots, leaving him unsteady on his workshop floor. After adopting ankle rolls and tennis ball massages, rolling a ball under his foot to release tension, he rebuilt his base. "I fixed cars for 40 years, he told me, but fixing my feet fixed my life." Now, he tinkers without fear, even mentoring his grandson in the garage. Stories like Jim's and Margaret's remind us, your feet aren't just for standing, they are for standing tall against life's uneven paths. But wait, Margaret's journey was just beginning. As she gained foot strength, a new challenge emerged, one that tested her resolve and led to a heart-pounding close call. If you're hooked, comment feet first, below, and let's uncover mistake 2. Mistake 2, playing it too safe, skipping balance practice. The air in my office grew thick with tension during Margaret's 3rd visit. She'd been diligent with her foot exercises, but when I asked her to walk heel to toe across the room, like a kid on a balance beam, she froze. I can't," she stammered, her face flushing. Then, in a whisper, "What if I fall right here?" That vulnerability exposed the second mistake, avoiding balance training entirely. Balance isn't automatic, it's a symphony of your muscles, inner ear, vision, and brain, honed through practice. Skip the rehearsal, and the performance falters. In our 50s and beyond, caution creeps in like an uninvited guest. We slow our pace, dodge uneven sidewalks, avoid quick turns, all in the name of safety. Margaret had done just that after a minor stumble in her garden 5 years back. "I started being careful," she explained, air quoting the word with sarcasm. "No more rushing, no more adventures." But that caution backfired, creating a downward spiral: weaker muscles, slower reflexes, eroded confidence. Research from Harvard Medical School shows that regular balance drills can slash fall risk by 25%, yet most folks treat balance like a forgotten skill, assuming it's gone for good. Margaret's pain ran deep here. She dreamed of reclaiming her active life, of being the grandma who plays tag, not the one watching from a chair. "I miss feeling capable," she confided, her eyes distant. It echoed the words of Helen Keller: "Life is either a daring adventure or nothing at all." We decided to make hers an adventure again, starting small to build momentum. Our plan? Everyday integrations. While brushing her teeth, Margaret stood on one foot, starting at 10 seconds and building to 30. "It was wobbly at first," she recalled, "but I pictured myself steady on a tightrope." We added Tai Chi flows, slow, graceful arm sweeps and leg shifts in her living room, mimicking the ancient art's fluid motion. And the heel-to-toe walk, just 5 steps daily, arms out for balance, focusing on each placement. These weren't gym workouts, they were life hacks, rewiring her brain-body link. The drama peaked one evening when Margaret decided to test her progress. Alone in her kitchen, she attempted a full heel-to-toe line across the tile. Halfway, her ankle buckled, heart racing. She caught herself on the counter, but instead of panic, she laughed. "I didn't fall," she texted me triumphantly. That near miss was a turning point, proving her body could recover. Within a month, she was flowing through Tai Chi like a pro, her confidence blooming. Let me share another tale for inspiration. Sarah, a 75-year-old librarian from California, had shelved her love for hiking after balance fears. Starting with 1-foot stands during coffee breaks, she progressed to yoga-inspired poses. "Balance is like reading a good book," she said. "You have to practice to get lost in it." Now, she leads book club walks, her strides sure and stories endless. If this resonates, comment "balance boost" below. But hold on, Margaret's story takes a suspenseful turn with a slip that could have ended everything. Ready for mistake 3? Mistake 3, the slippery slope at home, wrong footwear choices. It was a rainy Tuesday night when Margaret's call came, her voice trembling over the line. "Dr. Thomas, I slipped, bad." She'd been shuffling to bed in her old socks when her foot skidded on the hardwood, sending her crashing into the wall. "Bruised but unbroken," she whispered. "I thought I was done for." This heart-stopping incident unveiled the third mistake: using improper or unstable footwear indoors. It's deceptively simple, yet deadly. Loose slippers, slick socks, or bare feet on smooth surfaces turn your home into a hazard zone. Your shoes are more than fashion, They are your balance allies, providing grip, support, and feedback. Without them, proprioception, that sixth sense of body position, dims, delaying corrections. The National Institute on Aging reports that poor footwear contributes to 45% of home falls, yet we overlook it, padding around in whatever's comfy. Margaret's socks had zero traction, her slippers flopped like flippers. "I've been wearing these for years," she admitted, shame mixing with fear. Her deepest ache? The isolation. That slip meant canceling a family dinner, fueling her dread of being the fragile one. As Albert Einstein wisely noted, insanity is doing the same thing over and over and expecting different results. We broke the cycle by revamping her footwear wardrobe. Indoors, grip socks with silicone dots for non-slip magic. Outdoors, sneakers with firm arches, flexible sole lace, and rugged treads. I even took her shopping, turning it into a fun outing. Fit should hug without pinching, I advised, checking for worn sole lace monthly. You can assess now. Walk your hallway in your usual house shoes. Slip? Time for change. Add rug tape for extra security, and ditch backless styles. Margaret's transformation. She now glides confidently, her near fall a distant memory. For a quick vignette, meet Robert, a 71-year-old farmer from Kansas. His worn boots caused endless stumbles until he switched to supportive walkers. Feet happy, life happy, he grinned, back to tending his fields. These stories highlight, the right shoes aren't luxury, they are liberty. Comment shoe swap, if you're inspired. But brace yourself, Margaret's over-reliance on helpers nearly sabotaged her gains, leading to an emotional breakdown that changed everything. Mistake 4. Clinging to crutches, over-depending on supports. Weeks into her progress, I visited Margaret's home and spotted it, her hand trailing walls like a shadow, furniture becoming her constant companion. Just for security, she shrugged. But this was mistake 4, over-relying on furniture or walls for walking. It offers false comfort, atrophying core stabilizers and dulling reflexes, making real independence elusive. This habit signals distrust to your neuromuscular system, weakening ankles, hips, and balance pathways. A study in Physical Therapy Journal links it to a 35% higher fall risk. Margaret started subtly after her slip, evolving into a crutch. "I feel safe," she said, but her eyes betrayed the pain, dreams of solo adventures fading, replaced by dependency fears. Drawing from Nelson Mandela, the greatest glory in living lies not in never falling, but in rising every time we fall. We rose by phasing out supports. Start with standing unassisted for 30 seconds, then short walks, 2 steps, then 5, posture tall. Margaret's breakthrough? A hallway walk without touching anything, her heart pounding but triumphant. Another example, Linda, 76 from Florida, grip counters until progressive drills freed her. "I'm flying solo now," she beamed, vacationing cane-free. Comment let go, below. Finally, mistake 5 brings a shocking revelation that tied everything together for Margaret. Mistake 5, turning a blind eye, neglecting vision and inner ear. Margaret's climax came during a family outing. In dim light, she misjudged a step, tumbling into bushes. Everything spun, she recounted tearfully. Mistake 5, ignoring vision and inner ear health. These systems feed crucial data. Age dims them, but they are treatable. Exams revealed Margaret's cataracts and BPPV. Updates and rehab restored her. As Oprah Winfrey says, turn your wounds into wisdom. Margaret did, adding night lights and exercises. Mini story: Frank, 79 from Arizona, regained hikes post-vestibular therapy. Wrapping up, lessons from the edge. Margaret's saga, from wobbles to wonders, teaches us: spot the mistakes, fix them with heart. Strengthen feet, practice balance, choose shoes wisely, release supports, optimize senses. Your dreams await. Live fully after 50. What's your first step? Comment below, like, subscribe. Thanks for joining. See you next time.